Hey, this is Donnie. Welcome to another Tech in 10. This 10-minute video will cover just setting up an MPC server and then making that available to a Copilot Studio Agent. So what you're looking at here is inside of my Copilot, I have an MPC jokes agent here that I created. And it simply just says, tell me a dad joke or something. Now this is going out talking to an external MCP server hosted in Azure, and it just responds with an answer. Simple, kind of silly example, but just to prove a point, how do you just set these things up? So this is also running. When I created this Copilot agent, I also deployed it to inside of Teams as a Teams app, and you can see that it works here as well. So how's this work? First thing you need to do is create an MCP server, and you can find information on at Model Context Protocol. We import the MCP server for that. We're going to use SSE transport, which is the streaming option. We do that because this is a remote MCP server, but not running locally. So it needs to use the SSE server transport. Create the MCP server. We define what tools are available. We create the tools. So again, MCP is about connecting the agents to tools. So you're just defining tools on the MPC server side. Get dad joke is here. And then at the bottom, this is very important for Copilot. It says get the full URI for the request. Normally an SSE server will just send a relative URL with /SSE on it, but Copilot has a bug, essentially a bug that requires the full URL. The full URL. So you put that in there. Excuse me. So that's the MPC server is super simple. It looks just like an API. It is an API, but it's an API for agents to use. So that's the MPC server. We deploy that using GitHub Actions. We deploy that out to an Azure web app. We get this URL here to this MPC server, and now we go over to Power Apps. I created a custom connector in Power Apps. You have to do this in order to connect it to a Copilot agent. So if you turn on this Swagger editor, this is a standard format, OpenAI standard format for MPC servers. And we paste that URL from that Azure website in here, and it has this /SSE path, which is what you use to connect to the MPC server. So if I went back here and copied this URL, went to it in the browser, you would see jokes MPC servers running. If you put /SEE, oh sorry, typo, SSE server side, oops, you'll see that it sits connected. And this opens up a persistent connection between the agent and this MPC server. You don't have to do this. I'm just showing you how it gets accessed. So once we have that in there as the host and base path for this, we give it a description, we give it the URL here, and we create the connector. Once that connector is created, you go back to I'm in Copilot Studio now. Go to your agent, your jokes agent, and you want to create an action. And then you select the jokes MPC server custom connector here. So if I click on this, you can see this trigger this action when a user asks for a joke. It can provide Chuck Norris jokes, dad jokes, or Yo Mama jokes. And the connector is MPC jokes connector that I just created previously. If you're starting from scratch and you want to create a new custom connector, you go to Add Actions. Under New Action, you select New Custom Connector. It'll take you over to, you see my MCP joke server connector here, and you would just click New Custom Connector, create from blank, and then you'll use that Swagger OpenAI file to set it up. So I'm not going to get into the details of that. I'm just trying to show you the process of connecting it right now, since I have a short video. So that's the custom connector. Well, first of all, if I'm going to add an action, and I already created the custom connector, and then I could say MCP. And you'll see the joke agent, joke connector that's there. And I would just select that. So that's connected in. And then you can just test the joke server here. Tell me a joke. Tell me a dad joke in Copilot Studio just to test it. And you get the dad joke back. So how you deploy that to after you publish it, this Copilot Studio agent, you click Channels and you select Teams and Copilot for 365, and you can then publish that out to both Microsoft 365 and Teams, like I showed you at the beginning. So that's the end-to-end, from the repo of your code for your MPC server, deploying it to Azure, setting it up in Power Apps, adding it as a action in your Copilot Studio agent. That's all I have. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Bye.